हरि बोल। नाम संकीर्तन की जय। शीला प्रभुपाद की जय। शीला गुरुदेव की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरे हरे हरि बोल। सर, ओवर टू यू। थैंक यू। नाम संकीर्तन की जय। शीला प्रभुपाद की जय। शीला गुरुदेव की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरे हरे हरि बोल।
Hare Krishna devotees, welcome back to Chaitanya Charitamrita study class. So, from this week onwards, for next 5 to 6 weeks, we will be discussing Sri Brhad Bhagavatamrta, and we'll see what it is all about, and we'll try to understand the message given by Acharyas. So, the permission of all the devotees assembled, we went on YouTube live. And before we start the session, I would like to request our special person who is going to do a small kirtan for us. This is basically Shadgoswam Ashtakam. Why I wanted this Shadgoswam Ashtakam to be sung today is we need to invoke the mercy of Acharyas. Otherwise, understanding the scriptures is not easy. Though the scripture, what we are going to discuss today and next few weeks is everything is a story form, but it's nicely capsuled, nice devotional service. The bhakti, the process of bhakti is nicely capsuled in the story form. So for us to understand this in the right perspective, we need to invoke the mercy of Acharyas. So I would like to request Sindhu Priya to please switch on the video and do Kirtan. Sindhu Priya, please.
Good.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's and Matji's. Krishna Kirtana Kananartana Harao Premamritambo Nidhi Dhira Dhira Dhana Priya Priyakaro Nirmatsarau Buddhito Sri Chaitanya Kripabaram Bhuvi Bhuvo Bharavahantarakau Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugau Sri Jiva Gopalakau Nana Sastra Viharanaikanipuna Tadharma Samstapakau Lokanam Hitakarinam Tribhuvane Manyau Saranya Karau Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nandena Matalikau Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugau Sri Jiva Gopalakau Sri Gauranga Gunānuvarana Vidau Praddāsramityanvitau Papahutapanikrantanautanubratam गोविन्द गानामृतये आनन्दामृतिवर्धनैकनिपुनौ कैवल्यनिस्तारकौ वन्दे रूपसनातन रघुयुगौ श्रीजीवगोपालकौ त्यक्त्वा पूर्णमशेषमण्डलपते प्रेणिसदतु च वा भूत्वा दीनगणेशकौ करुणया औपेन्यकन्तश्रितौ गोपीभावरसामृताब्धिलहरी कल्लोलमग्नमुहुः वन्दे रूपसनातनौ रघुयुगौ श्रीजीवगुहालकौ कूजात् कोकिलहंससारसगना कीर्णे मयूराकुले नानारत्ननिबद्धमूलवितपाः श्रीयुक्तवृन्दावने राधाकृष्णमहर्निशं प्रबुधतौ विवर्तडौ यमुना वन्दे रूपसनातनं रघुयुगौ श्रीवेणुगोपालकौ संख्यापूर्वकनामगाननतिभिः कालारसानि कृतौ नेत्राहारविहारकारिविदितौ सत्याददीनौ च यौ राधाकृष्णगुणास्मृते मधुरिमा नन्देन सम्मोहितौ वन्दे रूपसनातनं रघुयुगौ श्रीजीवगोपालकौ राधाकुन्दकटेकलिन्दतनया तीरे च वंशीवते प्रेमानन्दवसेदशाशरशया रस्तौ प्रमत्तौ सदा गायन्तौ च कदा हरिर्गुणगणम् भावाभिभूतौ तु मुदा वन्दे रूपसनातनं रघुयुगौ श्रीशैवगोपालकौ हे राधे व्रजदेवि के च ललिते हे नन्दसूनुकुता श्रीगोवर्धनकल्पपादपतले कालिन्दिवने कृताः गोशान्तविति सर्वतो व्रजपुरे वेदैर्महाभिर्बलौ वन्दे रूपसनातनं रघुयुगौ श्रीजीवगोपालकौ वन्दे रूपसनातनं रघुयुगौ Vijaya Gopalakau Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugau Vijaya Gopalakau.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Sindhu Priya. That's a nice kirtan. Well done.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving me this opportunity.
So, thank you very much, all the devotees, once again for joining today's session. So, we'll start today's session. Allow me to share the screen. Hope this is visible to all. Can someone confirm, please?
Yes, Prabhu, it's visible. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you. Sri Brhad Bhagavatamrta. So we'll start this discussion with a verse which is part of, again, today's presentation, today's discussion. Munindra Mandali Madhye Nishchitam Mahatam Matam Mahaguhya Mayam Samyak Kathayami Avadharayam. So this sloka is recited by Parshit Maharaj to Mother Uttara. So what context he recited, we will see as we discuss today's session. But this sloka is very important for us to start with because this highlights the importance of Brhad Bhagavatamrta, how this Brhad Bhagavatamrta was spoken by the various personalities involved in the discussion. We are going to see that very soon. So meaning of this sloka is the greatest sages have approved this resulting work, which is full of confidential truth. Please listen with attention as I faithfully repeat it to you. So though this verse was told by Parshit Maharaj to Mother Uttara, we are going to see what context he discussed. But we need to listen this scripture, the discussion, because it is a full of confidential truth, and this was approved by greatest sages. And Parshit Maharaj is requesting Uttara, and also I'm requesting all of you to please listen this with a lot of attention as we faithfully try to repeat it to all of you. Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrta, the contents of, we are going to see what actually it means. This content of this Brihad Bhagavatamrta, this divided into two parts. The part one is Sri Bhagavat Krupa Sara Nidhara, which is the search for the essence of Bhagavan's mercy. So this has got 7 chapters. Apart from introduction, we are going to discuss. So today we'll cover introduction and chapter 1, which is a Bhauma on the earth. Chapter 2 is a Divya, the heaven. Chapter 3 is Prapanchatita, beyond the material world. Chapter 4 is a Bhakta, the devotee. Chapter 5 is Priya, not Privya, Priya, the beloved. Chapter 6 is Priyatama, the most beloved. Chapter 7 is Purna, the complete perfection. And then followed by part 2, which is the Goloka Mahatmya. There we are going to discuss in coming weeks Vairagya, Jnana, Bhajana, then Vaikuntha, the spiritual kingdom, Prema, the love of God, Abhishta Labha, the attainment of all desires, Jagat Ananda, the bliss of all highest realm. Now we'll briefly cover the introduction. So today we'll not rush. Today we'll try to cover introduction and chapter 1. And from today's session will be a bit slow because we try to understand the background of Brhad Bhagavatamrta. What is this all about? So that we are properly connected to the discussion which is happening here. From next week onwards, we'll take a fast track so that we can complete the whole book in next 6 sessions. So before we discuss, I want to know how many of you have read or heard about Brhad Bhagavatamrta. Can please raise hand, virtual hand. How many of you have heard or read Brhad Bhagavatamrta? This as a wait for others to raise a hand. We discussed this Brhad Bhagavatamrta when I was in Krishna Desh, maybe more than 10, 12 years ago.
2013, Prabhu.
Yeah,
2013.
2013, we discussed when I was in Krishna Desh, exactly 12 years. Maybe we discussed more than once, 3 or 4 times we did, once in Rasesh Prabhu's house also, I remember.
Chakravansh.
Yeah. So I see not many have raised their hands. So I presume others have not heard or read about it. So it is very, very important and auspicious for us to start today the discussion of this on the occasion of Ramadan. So today we'll give Krishna Dan. So we'll give Krishna as a charity to everyone, and in turn we can pass on this to others. Thank you. So you can down your thanks. So we'll continue with the discussion, the introduction. So here we'll discuss the meaning of Brhad Bhagavatamrta. Very briefly about author. I presume that most of you are aware of Sanatana Goswami. We will not discuss much about him. Then the discussion between Jaimini Rishi and Janamejaya. Then how Mahabharata was told by Jaimini Rishi to Janamejaya. We will not go into Mahabharata discussion. And then further inquiry by Janamejaya, which leads to the discussion of Brhad Bhagavatamrta, or discourse by Brhad Bhagavatamrta by Jaimini Rishi to Janamejaya. So, what is Brhad Bhagavatamrta? Brhad means great. Bhagavatam has 2 different meanings. One is Srimad Bhagavatam. Second one is Bhagavatas. We are going to discuss about 2 great Bhagavatas, 2 great personalities, and the whole discussion of Brhad Bhagavatamrta is in the purely the story form. So, as I mentioned, the philosophy and devotional service process of bhakti is nicely capsuled in the story form. So, it will be very, very interesting. Even for a sadhaka, even for a neophyte, it's very easy to understand, so that they can take up the process of bhakti quickly, even if he is not practicing before. So we are going to discuss about 2 great Bhagavatas in this whole Brhad Bhagavatam. So Brihad means great, Bhagavatam means either Srimad Bhagavatam or 2 Bhagavatas we are going to discuss. Amrita is a nectar. So Parishit Maharaj will be revealing the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam to Mother Uttara. We'll see what context he talks about this. In next few minutes, we'll start the discussion. So he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami for 7 days and nights continuously without eating, without drinking water, and without sleeping. He, along with so many other sages, including Narada and so many other demigods, even Vyasadeva was sitting and hearing from Sukadeva Goswami. So, essence of Srimad Bhagavatam, when Parishit Maharaj has given to Mother Uttara, that he becomes Brhad Bhagavatamrta. So, it is a nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam. And also it is mentioned by Acharyas that this is Bhagavatas, nectar of Bhagavatas. The two great Bhagavatas, Narada Maharshi, the first part, and second part, a great devotee called Gopakumara. So these two travels the journey of these two great personalities and the various people, various personalities these two meet and understand the process of bhakti is Brhad Bhagavatamrta. So about the author, we all know Sanatana Goswami has written this Brhad Bhagavatamrta. Sanatana Goswami is one of the great disciples of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why we just sang Shed Goswami Ashtakam. He is a chief direct disciple, and a senior most disciple among the Shed Goswamis who followed the instructions of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and propagated the process of Bhakti, Krishna consciousness to all the fallen conditioned souls. So Sanatana Goswami was a chief direct disciple of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was there. He associated with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and other devotees, and most of the time he spent in Vrindavan between 1488 to 1558, and he was an exalted personality. He helped to establish the Gaudiya Sampradaya, the school of devotional service to Krishna. So Sanatana Goswami has written so many books, but the 4 most important books, what he wrote, were Haribhakti Vilasa. We will not go in detailed discussion about what are the content of the books, what he wrote. But to understand the greatness of Sanatana Goswami, we need to know that he written so many books on the process of bhakti. The most important ones among those were Haribhakti Vilasa, Vaishnava Toshini, and Krishna Leela Stava, and 4th one is Brhad Bhagavatamrta. So Brhad Bhagavatamrta is what we are going to discuss now. Is a set of 2 stories presenting in 2514 slokas. We are not going to go sloka by sloka, verse by verse. We are going to cover it as an overview of the journey of Narada Maharshi and Gopakumara. Gopakumara part will come in second part of Brhad Bhagavatamrta. So essentially, it summarizes the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srila Prabhupada mentions in one of the purports of Chaitanya Charitamrita, highlights the importance of Brhad Bhagavatamrita. This is a beginning point for all of us to carefully understand what is the mood of Srila Prabhupada and why he wants us to read and hear about Brhad Bhagavatamrita. He says, Srila Sanatana Goswami, the teacher of science of devotional service, wrote several books, of which Brihad Bhagavatamrta is very famous. Anyone who wants to know about the subject matter of devotees, devotional service, and Krishna must read this book. This Brihad Bhagavatamrta talks basically about three B's, three bhas, you can say. One is a bhakta, as Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here. And second bha is bhakti. Third is Bhagavan. The whole Brihad Bhagavatamrita revolves around these three bhas, these three B's. Bhakta, Bhakti, and Bhagavan. So Srila Prabhupada says that anybody who want to know about subject matter of devotees, devotional service, and Bhagavan, they must read or hear Brihad Bhagavatamrita. And he continues to say, Prabhupada, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to accomplish many purposes through the endeavors of Sanatana Goswami. First, Sanatana Goswami compiled a book called Brihad Bhagavatamrita to teach people how to become devotees, execute devotional service, and attain the love of Krishna. So this is all about Sanatana Goswami. There's a lot to discuss, but we'll focus more on the content, the topic of today's discussion. So the third point in the introduction is about Jaimini Rishi and Janmejaya. Who is Jaimini Rishi? Jaimini Rishi, it is very briefly we need to understand who is Jaimini Rishi, so that we know why this Brihad Bhagavatamrita is being written and discussed by all of us, written by Sanatana Goswami and being discussed by all of us. When Veda Vyasa classified the whole Vedas, he divided into 4 parts based on their use in various sacrificial rites, and he taught them to his 4 chief disciples. The 4 chief disciples of Veda Vyasa were Paila, Vaishampayana, Jaimini, and Sumantu. And he has advised Jaimini Rishi to take care of Samaveda. So Jaimini Rishi has propagated the teachings of Samaveda. And this Jaimini Rishi also written one version of Mahabharata, which was narrated to him by Vyasadeva. Because Vyasadeva narrated this to all his disciples. Today, what we have, the book Mahabharata we have, that is not Jaimini Rishi's Mahabharata, that is basically Vaishampayana's Mahabharata. So, why are we discussing about Jaimini Rishi's Mahabharata? Because when Janmejaya, who is son of Parishit Maharaj, who is a long story, we all know that he wanted to do sacrifice to kill all the snakes, but for some reason, it's a very long story, he had to stop that because his intention was to kill Takshaka, because Takshaka has killed his father Prajapati. What is his name?
Parikshit.
Parishit Maharaj.
Parikshit Maharaj.
Parishit Maharaj. So Parishit Maharaj, Takshaka killed Parishit Maharaj. So he wanted to take a revenge and he wanted to kill all the snakes. He wanted to offer all the serpents to the fire, kill all the serpents. But because of some incidents which happened, so Janmejaya stopped killing. At some stage, most of the snakes were killed, and when Takshaka was about to be killed in the fire sacrifice, he stopped. It's a very long, different story. But after completion of this fire sacrifice, which stopped abruptly, so he hears about Mahabharata he requested Vaishampayana to glorify about Mahabharata, to tell him, because he wanted to know what exactly happened. He wanted to know about his forefathers, great grandfathers. So he requested Vaishampayana to talk about Mahabharata. Vaishampayana narrated whole Mahabharata to him, and he concluded the Sarpa Satra, or snake sacrifice, after that. But he was not satisfied with the discourse given by Vaishampayana. We know the reason, because Mahabharata was not a scripture which is meant for pure devotees, because it focuses on so many other topics. It doesn't highlight Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. So somehow even Vyasadeva was not very happy. So here Janmejaya, even after hearing Mahabharata from Vaishampayana, he was not satisfied. So at some stage he approached Jaimini Rishi, and he requested Jaimini Rishi to narrate Mahabharata once again. So Jaimini Rishi's Mahabharata was not completely different. It was more focused on devotional service. Jaimini Rishi's Mahabharata it emphasizes the value of worshipping Krishna. It was so nectarian. So when Jaimini Rishi has narrated whole Mahabharata to Janmejaya, he was so ecstatic, so happy. He said, I heard this Mahabharata before from Vaishampayana also, but somehow I was not feeling satisfied. But now I feel so ecstatic, so happy, because you have glorified Krishna so much in this Mahabharata. But please continue. I want to hear more. So Janmejaya, when he requested Jaimini Rishi to continue more, this is where Jaimini Rishi started talking about Bhagavatamrta, which is appendix to Mahabharata. So what it means is, this Bhagavatamrta was not actually written by Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami, he himself says that I have written only the commentary to Bhagavatamrta. This slokas, more than 2,500 slokas, were already in existence, but somehow they lost. This was actually narrated by Jaimini Rishi to Janmejaya. So then when Janmejaya wanted to hear more about Krishna, about pure devotees, then he starts the Sri Bhagavatamrta. So we start with the first verse. Very few verses we'll recite. Most of the discussion is in the story form. Initially, Sri Sanatana Goswami is invoking the mercy of great personalities, and he gives Mangalacharana for first 10 slokas is about Mangalacharana. We'll recite the first couple of slokas and then we'll straight away go into the discussion. The sloka 1 of chapter 1, canto, part 1 of Bhagavatamrta. Jayati nija padabda prema danavatirno vividha madhurimabdih ko apikaishora gandhi gata paramadashantam yasya chaitanya rupad anubhava padamaptam prema gopishu nityam. So Sanatana Goswami is glorifying Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Supreme Lord Krishna in this sloka, invoking their blessings for uninterrupted flow of Bhagavatamrta. So this is important for us also to have that taste to hear the Bhagavatamrta, and we are invoking mercy of Supreme Lord. So here he says that all glories to that inconceivable Lord who descended to bestow the gift of perfect love for his own lotus feet. He is an ocean filled with many kinds of sweetness, and he always bears the fragrance of fresh youth. In his form as Sri Chaitanya, he has revealed the last extreme of transcendental experience, the love residing eternally in the gopis. So this sloka talks about the theme of the book. The purpose of this book is to understand the process of bhakti, pure devotional to the Lord. As we said, it talks all about three bhas, bhakta, bhakti, and bhagavan. So this theme of the book is mentioned in the sloka. See, Sri Prabhupada mentions elsewhere that Lord bestows both material enjoyment and also liberation to those who approach him. But one who has bhakti, he relishes abundant happiness, which is definitely more than liberation. What to speak of happiness which is coming out of material enjoyment? Because in this material world, we are all after money, name, fame, and some are beyond that, they want liberation, mukti. Lord reciprocates for whatever we need whenever we approach him, definitely he reciprocates. But Bhakta, who is the subject matter of this book, he is beyond all this. He don't want any material enjoyment, neither bhukti nor mukti. He wants only bhakti. So even that also Lord bestows. What is the process of achieving this bhakti is discussed in this book, and certainly it is covered in this sloka. So in this book, we are going to understand not only the greatness of the Lord, but also the sweetness of the Lord. As the journey continues of the two Mahabhagavatas, Sri Narada Maharshi and Gopakumara, we are going to discuss the wonderful story. They go up to Vaikuntha, they go up to Golaka Vrindavana. The whole journey is discussed in nice story form. It is not a concocted story. This is what Jaimini Rishi has narrated, and we are hearing from through Parishit Maharaj and Sanatana Goswami. So Sanatana Goswami invokes the auspiciousness in this verse and the next 9 verses. The conclusion of this verse is that gopis are the most beloved devotees, and that their love for Lord is the highest achievement of life. So Sanatana Goswami, somebody may ask a question, Prabhu, Jaimini Rishi has already written these 2500 slokas, and we just discussed that all the slokas were lost. Even Jaimini Rishi's Mahabharata is completely lost. Very small portion of Jaimini Rishi's Mahabharata is available today. The rest all is lost in the time. We don't have. But how this Bhagavatamrta was recovered? Here comes the author, Sanatana Goswami. Since the author himself is a Manjari, he was a Manjari in Golaka Vrindavan, Sanatana Goswami. He already experienced this truth. So when he was given discourse, knowledge by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Varanasi, so all this knowledge of bhakti and process devotional service was revealed in his heart. He mentions that he is not the writer of this book, he is only commentator of this book, and all the slokas were revealed in his heart by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, because he was a Manjari before, he was a Manjari in Golok Vrindavana, he knows everything. So, all these verses were revealed in his heart and he documented them. So, the message here is one must hear whatever is being narrated, whatever we are going to discuss, with a full confidence, faith, and devotion, noting that none of the topics we are going to discuss are concocted or a mere story. That takes us to second verse. Only two verses we are going to discuss, and then we'll go straight into the pastime. Sri Radhika Prabhutayo Nitaram Jayanti Gopyo Nitanta Bhagavat Priyata Prasiddha Yasam Haro Paramasaudra Madhurinam Nirvaktumishad Apijatu Nako Apishakti. So here we are invoking the mercy of Srimati Radharani and Gopis. All glories above all to the Gopis headed by Sri Radhika, who are famous as the Lord's dearmost devotees. No one can even begin to properly describe the charm of their supreme affection for Sri Hari. So here author is invoking the auspiciousness, mercy of all the Gopis and Srimati Radharani. The supremacy, supreme excellence of Gopis of Vrindavana is described here. They should always be given, Gopis should always be given special honor, because the Lord may sometimes become unhappy or dissatisfied with other devotees, but he never does that with Gopis. So Gopis carry so much of affection towards Krishna, which again is subject matter of this Brhad Bhagavatamrta we are going to discuss. So in the next few verses, we are just going to discuss about other Mangalacharana slokas very quickly, and then we'll go into the main topic. So next 8 slokas, Sanatana Goswami glorifies various personalities and begging for their mercy, so that we can attentively hear Brhad Bhagavatamrta. So he glorifies, in verse 3, he glorifies Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, begs for his mercy, and verse 4, he glorifying Mathura, which is the birthplace of Lord Krishna in this material world. When he appears in this material world as Krishna himself, he takes birth in Mathura. So he glorifies Mathura, because Mathura, anybody who takes the name of Mathura is untouched by fear from time and other causes of destruction. So there is no cause of any fear for those who even take the name of Mathura. What to talk of visiting Mathura and worshipping Mathura. Then he glorifies Vrindavana forest. Then he glorifies Yamuna. He says that worshipping Yamuna is very auspiciousness. And Yamuna Devi, she is 100 times more sacred than Ganges. So her greatness excels that of Ganges. Then he glorifies Govardhana Hill, where Lord performed so many pastimes. Then he glorifies Prema Bhakti, the love of Godhead in verse 8. This love of Godhead excels the liberation, penance, sacrifice, renunciation, etc. All these are eager to take shelter of Prema Bhakti. Then he glorifies the holy name of the Lord in verse 9, wherein author refers to Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 6, chapter 16 and verse 44, and says that just by hearing the holy name of the Lord even once, when we say Krishna or Hare Krishna, or we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra even once, forget about even chanting, even hearing, says that people of a lower caste or even having animalistic propensity, they are freed from all material contamination. And in verse 10, he repeats, again glorifying Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glory to Supreme Lord who appeared in Kali Yuga as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then it continues further, saying that he says that, as we mentioned, he is not the one who wrote Bhagavatamrta. He mentions that in verse 11. He said he only gave the commentary to the slokas which are already existing but lost. So this book is not a concocted story, as I said, or a speculative fiction or even fantasy. So one must have that faith, and with that faith, we must attentively hear. We need to sincerely pray for Sanatana Goswami's mercy to understand the Bhagavatam. So we can understand the essence of spiritual truth only by the mercy of Lord and pure devotees. That's the reason we sang the Shadgosam Ashtakam also today. So then it continues in verse 12 and 13. He says that, may Vaishnavas kindly hear this confidential scripture. Sri Bhagavatamrta, Jain Rishi spoke it to King Janmejaya in the enthusiasm of pure love. So then Janmejaya starts hearing from Jain Rishi. So Jain Rishi says in verse 15 onwards, he starts talking about Bhagavatamrta. He tells Janmejaya that when Parishit Maharaj has completed the discussion or hearing of Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami, for continuous marathon, 7 days and 7 nights, he was completely relieved of all the fear. Because the purpose of his attending this discourse from Sukadeva Goswami was, he wanted to know what is the duty of a person who is about to leave the body. So when he hears whole Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami, all his fear and all his whatever obstacles he was having in his mind, whatever doubts he was having in mind, everything was completely relieved. So he was fully absorbed in the deep meditation, and he started focusing on Supreme Lord. So that time, his mother comes to Janmejaya. Mother was Uttara, Parishit Maharaj's Parishit Maharaj's wife. So she comes to Janmejaya and she requests one simple question she will ask. That question led to the discussion of Bhagavatam. She asked Janmejaya, my dear son, you heard so much nectar from Sukadeva Goswami, but what about me? I was so unfortunate that I could not be part of that discourse. Please tell me what you heard from Sukadeva Goswami. So here is Sukadeva Parishit Maharaj. Sorry, Parishit Maharaj's mother was Uttara, sorry, confused. So Uttara comes to Parishit Maharaj. My dear son, please tell me what you heard from Sukadeva Goswami. Then Parishit Maharaj says, it took 7 days and 7 nights for me to hear from Sukadeva Goswami. He was a great personality. He could cover the whole Srimad Bhagavatam in 7 days and 7 nights. I am insignificant soul. It is not practical, not possible for me to give the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. But since you are requesting, I will tell you the whole Srimad Bhagavatam as a gist, as a summary to you. Then he starts talking about the two great personalities, journey of two great personalities from verse 21 onwards. He says that I shall speak by the mercy of my spiritual master, Sukadeva Goswami. Then he offers respects. This is where the sloka we discussed. Munindra Mandali Madhye Nishchitam Mahatam Matam Mahaguhya Mahamayam Samyak Katha Kathayami Avadharaya. So he says that this Bhagavatamrta, which I am going to disclose to you, my dear mother, was already approved by great sages, and it talks about the great, wonderful devotional service to the Lord. So please be very attentive in hearing this discussion. Then in verse 24 onwards, the actual discussion starts. So we'll see how long we can go, and I thought we'll complete this chapter. Let us see next few minutes how much we can cover, and then we'll stop at some stage. Then we'll continue from next week. So then he talks about the Narada Maharshi's journey. The first part of Brhad Bhagavatamrta is about journey of Narada Maharshi, which is titled as Sri Bhagavat Krupa Sara Nidhara. Here, in this journey, Narada Maharshi is finding the essence of Supreme Lord's mercy. So he starts his journey not to find, actually to prove to us that who is the greatest recipient of Lord's mercy. Who can be? We also can become in that fall in that category. So what are we supposed to do is the message being given by Narada Maharshi to all of us. The whole content of this chapter, this topic is finding the essence of Supreme Lord's mercy. So he says, Parishit Maharaj is continuing explaining to Mother Uttara. He says, once in Prayag, there are a group of exalted Brahmanas and devotees. They all assembled, gathered together, and started discussing about the spiritual topics. And they started glorifying each other. Oh, you are a wonderful devotee. Said, no, I'm not wonderful devotee. You are a wonderful devotee. So the whole discussion of Bhagavatamrta, at least the first part, is it highlights the humility of devotees. So in this first section we are discussing, there's a group of devotees, group of Brahmanas who assembled together and engaged in the devotional service and discussing about Supreme Lord. At the end, they started glorifying each other, saying they were praising one another, saying, you are the recipient of Lord's mercy. Prayag is very, very auspicious place. Recently, we seen Kumbh Mela also concluded. 45 days, 46 days of Kumbh Mela is concluded in the Prayag. I'm sure so many of assembled devotees have visited Kumbh Mela and taken the blessings. So the discussion which is happening in today's topic, all the exalted sages were assembled at Prayag. Prayag is a chief of holy places, and here all the sages assembled in the month of Magha, which is exactly what we are discussing, January and February. Some stage, I don't know how many years, how many decades, how many centuries back happened, but in the same period, in the month of Magha, January, February month, they all assembled and they started glorifying each other. Then Parishit Maharaj was telling Mother Uttara, he said, there's the one first-class Brahmana arrived. He was very opulent Brahmana. He arrived at Prayag and he started cleaning the place and he made one nice altar and installed his deity, which is Saligram Shila. He brought Saligram Shila with him. He installed Saligram Shila on the altar. He made a nice altar and he decorated so nicely. And all the opulences, whatever he had, he started offering to the Lord, started worshipping the Saligram Shila with a great ecstasy, and he started dancing with great ecstasy. After worship, after offering all the preparations, whatever he brought to Saligram Shila, then he distributed to all the Brahmanas assembled. So we are going in a bit fast track now, because now from here onwards, the story starts. Then he offered food, bhoga to the Lord, and started great worship with all the opulences, whatever he had. He offered to the Sarigam Shila, and then he also worshipped all the Brahmanas assembled in that place. He said, it's mentioned that he honored all the Vaishnavas who are always greedy to enjoy the bliss of glorifying Krishna. So when offering is finished, then he requested all the Brahmanas assembled there, all the devotees assembled there, all the living entities in that place. He fed sumptuous prasadam to all of them, including the animals, other small creatures, for each and every living entity in the vicinity. He offered the food, and everybody was happy. When everybody is happy, satisfied, then he and his other associates started honoring the prasad along with the family. So that time, Narada Maharshi, who was amongst the audience, was the Vaishnavas who assembled in that place. He immediately got up and ran towards this Brahmana. He said, Ayam eva Mahavishnu Preyan iti muhur bruvan. He said that this is the Supreme Lord Vishnu's most dear devotee. So he is telling, he is announcing in front of all the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas assembled there, that this Brahmana is a great personality. Ayam eva Mahavishnu Preyan iti muhur bruvan. He said that this personality, this person is the greatest recipient of Lord's mercy. He proclaimed this again and again. Sri Krishna Paramot Krishna Upaya Bhajanam Janam. He said that this person is recipient of Lord's highest mercy. So he started glorifying this Brahmana. He said, my dear Brahmana, what kind of a devotional service you are performing? You are such an exalted devotee. Huh? All your opulences you are offering to the Supreme Lord. Whatever wealth, property, your whatever possessions you have, everything you are offering to Krishna. I am so happy to see your devotional, the mood of your devotion, that everything what you have is you are offering to Krishna. So now it is confirmed, my dear Brahmana, that because you are using all your assets exclusively to satisfy Supreme Lord and also to all the Vaishnavas assembled here, you are the greatest recipient of Lord's mercy. Then that Brahmana was ashamed. He felt so ashamed, and he said, my dear spiritual master, my dear Narada, what are you talking about? What signs of Krishna's mercy you have seen in me? I am an insignificant Brahmana. Worshipping Lord is my duty. As a Brahmana, I am supposed to do, I am doing it. And you are saying, I am the greatest recipient of Lord's mercy? Show me one aspect of Lord's mercy upon me. I am an insignificant, poor Brahmana. I don't have much of opulence. I have very little opulence which I am offering. How can I, if you think that Lord is merciful upon me, he would have given so much of opulence and everything to me, but he has given very little. I don't have much to offer to the Lord. I am the most unfortunate and distressed person in distress. How much charity I can give to Brahmanas and use in service of the Lord, because I have very little. And how can you say this is something which I am not able to digest? I cannot accept at all. How can you say that Lord is reciprocating to me and giving me I am the greatest recipient of Lord's mercy? It is not possible at all, my dear. What is Gurudev? In fact, in South India, then he directs Narada. This is the whole journey we are going to discuss. He says in South India, there is a great king. Of course, name is not mentioned in this discussion. There's a great king who is so opulent that all his kingdom is flourishing with so much opulence. Every citizen of his kingdom, they are very opulent and they are very highly exalted in their devotion. And there, the king, he built so many temples, not only for Supreme Lord, even for all the demigods. He is the greatest recipient of Lord's mercy. Because there's so many saints that are visiting his kingdom. His kingdom has become a place of pilgrimage. And here the king is performing great festivals and using all his opulences in the service of the Lord. Lord is personally residing in this kingdom as Archavigraha. And the king is always, in that kingdom, a joyous, ever fresh festival is always being celebrated. Everything is being offered to Krishna, Supreme Lord. And all the residents of kingdom, they are so happy and they are exalted devotees. So, if you want to really understand who is the greatest recipient of Lord's mercy, you please go to his kingdom. Because he gives one more point, that in that kingdom, because of the devotion what the king is performing and all the citizens of kingdom are performing, the earth yields crops without being tilled. No need to do anything, just put the seeds and crops will grow automatically. Rains fall just enough for the people's comfort, and whatever fruits, vegetables, and clothing one desires, one can easily have. Because it is like a kalpavriksha, kamadhenu. They're all residing in this kingdom. Whatever one desires, it is automatically fulfilled. The citizens all happily follow the king as if they were his children. Then he says that you are saying I am greatest recipient of Lord's mercy, my dear Narada. But I am a Brahmana, I am supposed to do this, I am doing. But he is a Kshatriya. As a Kshatriya, it is not necessary for him to be so much engaged in the devotional service. His dharma is to rule the kingdom. But he, in spite of being a king, he is engaged. He is engaging all his opulences in the service of the Lord. So he is the greatest recipient. This king, in spite of all this, he is a prideless. And he serves the Lord as a menial servant. Those good qualities arise from his devotion for Krishna. How many of them can I count, describe, or even aware of. This king has so many qualities, and it is not possible for me to count or describe. So better you go and witness himself by yourself. Another 5 minutes will conclude this chapter. Then Narada Maharshi went to that country, went to the South India, southern India, which has the best of kings, to see that king. And wherever Narada went, he found the people absorbed in festive worship of the Lord. Then Narada arrived the capital, says vibrating his veena with delight. Then he saw, was so happy, so much excited to see that whatever the Brahmanas described, exactly it is the same. He was so happy to see all the citizens of the kingdom so advanced in their devotion. They are worshipping the Lord with so much of devotion. So happy, Narada Maharshi approached the king. Then he says, Tvam Sri Krishna Krupa Patram Yasye Drigrajya Vaibhavam Salloka Guna Dharmartha Jnana Bhakti Bhir Anvitam. He said that you are a real recipient of Sri Krishna's mercy. Now he is moving to the next person. The Brahmana said, I am not. So this the whole journey we understand the humility of a devotee, how a devotee should be in his life. Whenever we have some name, fame, we must not accept to our credit, but pass on to the other senior devotees. This is what exactly happening. Brahmana says, no, I am not the devotee. See, he is a devotee. Now, king also says something which we are going to see soon. So, Narada Maharshi is glorifying king now. He says that, my dear king, you are the great real recipient of Sri Krishna's mercy. Why? You are so opulent. I can see so much of Aishwarya in the kingdom. Everything you are using in the service of the Lord. And not only that, you have the best of best citizens. I never seen citizens engaged in the devotional service so much. All the citizens, not 99%, 100%, everyone is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. And everyone having excellent character, religiousness, prosperity, knowledge, and devotion to the Lord. Then Narada continued to glorify and extensively describe, praising him, and he embraced the king. The king, he felt so much embarrassed. The ruler of that vast region then worshipped the topmost stage and humbly replied, with his head bowed down in embarrassment, for the weight of hearing his own praise. So this is again the quality of a devotee we should adopt. When we hear somebody glorifying us, we should feel more humble, not to feel proud that, oh, I am such and such, so and so is glorifying. Prabhu, you are singing so nicely, you are taking class so nicely, you are a nice devotee. These we must not accept to us, but pass on to the senior devotees, is what we are hearing. King said, I am a human being with a short lifespan. You see, now the angle of the king, what he is taking over. He says, I am a human being. You are saying, I am offering all the opulences, I am a great devotee and a great recipient of Lord's mercy. But my dear Narada, I am a human being. I have very short lifespan and very little opulence. If I give all my opulence, I spend, everything will vanish. I may not get again. And have very little to give to others. And I am a king. I am always worried about other kings, other enemies who attack me. I don't even deserve Krishna's word that in future he might show his mercy. You are saying I'm a greatest recipient. Already I'm having the mercy. No, I don't even have a qualification of receiving the mercy in future. I don't see any possibility. why do you wrongly consider me as an object of his compassion? So then he says that, then he directs another few verses will complete this chapter. We are not going to each and every verse. He says that my lifespan is very small, but the demigods, the devatas in heavenly planet, Vargaloka, they are the real objects of Lord's the mercy, because their lifespan is huge. Mine is only very small, 100 years. They have effulgent bodies, and they're always worshipable by people. We all worship demigods, no, devatas. He said, this king is telling Narada Maharshi, I'm an insignificant soul. These devatas, they have great personality. They have very vast life. Not only that, they have kind of immortality because they drink amrita. Because they drank amrita, they are immortal. Which they give away the miseries of death, disease, and old age. They will not affect these devatas. So these devatas, they enjoy great satisfaction by partaking in this nectar by their own sweet will. So they worship Supreme Lord. There he says that this king is telling Narada Maharshi that among the devatas, the most distinguished of these demigods is Purandara Indra. So Indra, we all know, Indra is not actually a person, it is a position. It is like a general manager of the company or whatever position. So that position is called Indra. So every time the person may change. So the person whom this king is talking about is called Purandara. He is Purandara Indra. The name of the person who occupied the post of Indra is Purandara. So this person is very powerful. He is chief of all the demigods. He is the king of all the demigods. He has so much of power to reward and punish. And he is the one who bestows the rain also. And he rules 3 planetary systems for 71 celestial ages. So he is trying to tell that my lifespan is only 100 years, but he has 71 yugas. He is Mahayugas. He is his lifespan. So, and so much of opulence he has. And he has so much opulence that he has a desire trees, Kamadhenus, and everything he has. He has got a Parijata. And he went on describing the opulence of the king. Then he concludes, this is the last verse, he says that, how can I even describe Indra's greatest fortune? Then he reveals why Indra is so fortunate. He says that the personality, Supreme Personality of Lord Vishnu, has taken the form of Vamandev and become his younger brother. Not only that, my dear sage, Vamandev is personally accepting worship of Indra every day. You are telling me as greatest recipient, I am worshipping only his Archavigraha. See Indra, so much of opulence he has. This personality is personally worshipping Vamandev, Lord Vamandev. Vamandev literally sitting in front of him and is offering Arti and offering Bhoga. He is feeding him. Who is the greatest recipient, me or Indra? Then Narada started thinking, yeah, right. So Indra is must be greatest recipient. Then he says that the king concludes, they're saying, Lord Vamanadeva encourages Indra by shielding him from dangers and accepting in person the elaborate worship Indra offers. But of course, you already know this and much more. So being a Viloka Sanchari, my dear sage, you know everything. You are testing me. I am an insignificant king, very short lifespan, very short opulence I have. Whereas this person, He lives millions of years, and Lord personally accepting the worship from him as Vamandev. So please go to him and glorify him. So thus ends the first chapter of part 1 of Sanatana Goswami's Bhagavatamrta, entitled The Bhauma on the Earth. So next chapter starts with Divya, which is heaven. So Narada Maharshi travels to higher planetary systems, to heavenly planets, and from there, where all he goes is very interesting discussion. Those who have not heard it before, not read it before, I request everyone to please continue next week, so that we know the whole journey of Narada Maharshi and finally where he will reach, and he will find out who is the greatest recipient of Lord's mercy. So this is the treasure hunt. This one is a treasure hunt. We are going to find the treasure at the end of the session. Hare Krishna. So if you have any questions, we can take for a few minutes. Otherwise, we will conclude session and we'll continue next week. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Please unmute your.
Haribol Prabhuji, nice Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams, Prabhuji. The Brahmin about whom you mentioned, is this the same Brahmin of South India, of Pratishthanpur, who made kheer also, and
No, Mataji. No.
while offering, this one is the different Brahmana.
This is different.
Right,
Different.
Prabhuji. Right,
Different.
right. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat pranams, Prabhuji.
Any more questions, comments?
No, Prabhuji.
Narayana Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat pranams. For me, as in very beginning, you ask who read or who heard about the Sri Brhad Bhagavatamrta. For me, this is the first time. So for me, naturally, the question came in my mind in the beginning that. But very nicely you talk about this, given so many things regarding the Janmeja Rishi and Jaimini Rishi, and you reminded four Paila Rishi, Vaishampayan Rishis, and others, and Jaimini, and like that. So good one. So my question is coming this here, ki Sukdev Goswami ji said to the Parikshit Maharaja, and there after the 7 days, 7 days and 7 nights, the Takshak came. Before that only he went to his place, and then only that was the formality. But when the discussion was happened with his mother Uttara, so that is my question, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, the discussion with Uttara was before Takshaka, naturally, before Takshaka kills Parikshit Maharaj. After completing this 7 days of discourse from Sukadeva Goswami, now he had very, very little time. We don't know how much time he had, but now he is sitting alone. He wanted to meditate on Krishna and wait for Takshaka to come and kill him. So in that short period of time, what actually happened, we never knew. Now, it's only by the mercy of Sanatana Goswami it has been revealed that otherwise we know Bhagavad Saptaha has finished and Takshaka came and killed. But so much thing happened in between these two incidents. So this is just before Takshaka killed and after conclusion of discourse by Sukadeva Goswami. So he was waiting. He actually don't want to talk anything because he heard so much about Supreme Lord. He don't want to engage in prajalpa. He don't want to engage his senses on any activity. He want to sit and meditate on the Lord. So then when Mother Uttara asked, he was compelled because he said that if any other question I would not have answered because I wanted to maintain my silence and meditate on the Lord. But since you are asking, my dear mother, I definitely want to discuss about what I heard and give the whole essence to you. So this happened just before Rakshaka killed. So is that your question answered, Prabhu? Or?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
So if there are no questions, further questions, we'll.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can I just request you that after each class, like if you can tell us takeaway point also, if you can add on, it will
Sure,
be a
Prabhu.
flavor
Sure,
to
Mataji.
the
Yeah,
class.
yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Thank you,
okay.
Prabhuji. Dandavat
Thank you.
pranams.
Hare Krishna. So we'll continue. We'll start that from next week. Next week will not be so much introduction because we already heard. So what we'll do is next week before starting the next week this one, we'll summarize very briefly 5 minutes and give takeaway points for this week. And from next week onwards, at the end of the session, we'll show takeaway points for the week's discussion. So if there are no further questions or comments, can we conclude the session here?